You know when a superstar's empire seems untouchable? When their streams are untouchable, their sales are unstoppable, and their name alone can make headlines across the globe? That's Drake, Champagne Papi, the Six God, a man whose influence stretches from Toronto to Tokyo, from the Grammys to TikTok trends. But what happens when the very foundation of that empire starts showing cracks? When whispers turn into rumors, and rumors turn into full-blown accusations. Right now, Drake's empire, the streaming numbers, the chart dominance, the record-breaking releases, is facing a storm that nobody saw coming. And the culprit might just be bots. Yes, you heard that right. Bots, automated streams, fake engagement, and manipulations in a digital age where numbers are currency. For years, fans, industry insiders, and even fellow artists have marveled at Drake's meteoric rise and consistent domination. But behind the scenes, the very metrics that made him the king of charts may be under scrutiny. We're talking about a potential shakeup so intense it could redefine the way we look at music success in the streaming era. Imagine millions of streams suddenly being questioned, awards possibly being reconsidered, records once celebrated as untouchable being debated, and the artist himself, Drake, standing in the middle of it all, with an empire built on precision, timing, and influence, now facing one of the biggest controversies of his career. In this video, we're diving deep into the story nobody is fully talking about, from alleged bot usage, to the industry fallout, to the shocking reactions from fans and fellow artists alike. By the end of this, you'll see Drake's empire in a way you've never imagined. Buckle up. This isn't just gossip. It's a potential game changer for the music world. Drake didn't just enter the music scene, he took it over. From his early days on Degrassi to dropping mixtapes that reshaped hip-hop, every step in his career seemed calculated, precise, and unstoppable. Best I Ever Had, Take Care, God's Plan. These weren't just hits. They were milestones. And for years, Drake's empire was untouchable. Album after album, single after single, he dominated streaming platforms in ways no one else could. But what happens when the numbers you've built your entire reputation on suddenly come into question? That's exactly what the music world is now grappling with. Streaming is the new battlefield in music. Forget radio play, forget CD sales, forget even digital downloads. If your streams are high, you're king. And Drake has always been king. His every release, every feature, every collaboration seemed to generate millions upon millions of streams overnight. To casual fans, it looked like magic, like an unstoppable juggernaut rolling over the industry. But the closer you look, the more you start to notice patterns that don't add up. Certain streaming numbers are too perfect, too consistent, like they were engineered. Industry insiders have started asking uncomfortable questions. Are all these streams real? Is Drake really breaking records organically, or is there a hidden hand boosting these numbers? And it isn't just speculation, it's a growing debate. Bots, automated programs designed to inflate play counts, have become a serious concern in the digital age. Some artists have been caught, others suspected, but the mere suggestion that Drake could be involved sends shockwaves through the music industry. Why would anyone question Drake? He's been transparent, charismatic, and undeniably talented. But when an empire becomes untouchable, scrutiny inevitably follows. Every record he breaks, every chart he dominates now comes with a caveat. Was this real, or was it amplified? And while hardcore fans defend him, pointing to his undeniable talent and work ethic, critics aren't so forgiving. Now imagine being Drake, a man who has built a multi-million-dollar empire, an empire that includes music, fashion, endorsements, and even investments. Imagine the pride, the control, the influence, and then hearing whispers that all your success could be artificially inflated. For an artist whose reputation is built on dominance, that's not just a hit. It's a direct challenge to your credibility, your authenticity, and your legacy. And this isn't just about numbers. This is about perception. In today's digital age, perception often equals reality. If the public starts believing that Drake's streams are artificially inflated, it doesn't matter if he personally touches a bot or not. The damage is done. Collaborators might hesitate, brands might reconsider partnerships, and even awards, those shiny trophies that confirm dominance, might come under scrutiny. Suddenly, the untouchable empire that Drake has meticulously built over the past decade could crack at the edges, all because of bots. So how did we get here? How did Drake, a man who seemed unstoppable, find himself in a situation where his most important metric, streams, could be called into question? It starts with the music industry's obsession with numbers. In the past, success was measured by album sales or radio hits. But now, streams are everything. 1 million streams equals one status symbol. 10 million streams? You're a superstar. 100 million? You're untouchable. And the bigger the numbers, the bigger the temptation. Bots aren't new. They've been around for years, but the technology has become increasingly sophisticated. They can replicate human listening behavior, mimic engagement, and make it look like millions of real people are listening to a track repeatedly. Some say Drake has always been a strategic genius, and for him, the line between strategic promotion and artificial amplification may be blurrier than the public realizes, and the timing couldn't be worse. With competitors like The Weeknd, Travis Scott, and emerging hip-hop stars dominating social media and streaming trends, every number counts. Every chart placement is a statement, and suddenly whispers about bots threaten to overshadow talent, putting Drake in a position where he's not just defending a track or an album, but defending his entire reputation. It all started as a murmur. In the darkest corners of the music, an industry obsessed with numbers, streams, and viral metrics. At first, it seemed like nothing more than chatter among competitors, casual observers, and hardcore fans dissecting every chart placement. But as the weeks passed, the whispers grew louder, transforming into full-blown allegations. Drake's streams might not be entirely organic. Now, let's be clear. The term bots isn't just casual slang. These are automated programs designed to simulate human behavior online. They can repeatedly stream tracks, like posts, and even mimic interactions in ways that make it almost impossible to tell the difference between a real listener and a machine. And in an era where 1 million streams can literally translate into millions of dollars, the temptation to manipulate numbers is huge. The controversy first gained traction when a series of anonymous insider leaks surfaced on social media and music forums. According to these insiders, some of Drake's most recent releases exhibited patterns that defied logic. Songs would spike in streams in the middle of the night across multiple regions simultaneously. Certain playlists would show repeated plays from accounts with no other activity. And the most shocking detail? Some of these accounts didn't even appear to be linked to real humans. They were ghost accounts, created solely to inflate numbers. Fans were torn. Hardcore Drake supporters were in disbelief. "No way, Poppy is untouchable," they said. Others started analyzing the numbers themselves, posting charts, graphs, and screenshots that seemed to confirm what insiders were hinting at. Suddenly, a cloud of suspicion hung over Drake's previously pristine reputation. And the backlash wasn't limited to fans. It spread to the industry itself. Producers, collaborators, and record label executives began asking questions behind closed doors. Streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube have strict policies against artificial plays, and if evidence suggested violations, repercussions could be massive. Remember, these platforms are more than just distribution channels. They're the lifeblood of an artist's influence. If Drake's numbers were inflated artificially, even unintentionally, it could result in stripped accolades, removed certifications, or, in the worst-case scenario, a public scandal that shakes his empire to its core. And it wasn't just numbers. The narrative began to shift dramatically on social media. TikTok videos, Twitter threads, and Reddit posts started piecing together supposed evidence of bot activity. Some fans claimed that they could stream a track all day without seeing their play count actually rise, while others noticed spikes that didn't align with organic listening trends. Every post, every comment, seemed to add fuel to the fire, turning speculation into massive public scrutiny. Even fellow artists joined the conversation, some subtly, others overtly. A few cryptic tweets hinted at frustration over artificial plays and unearned streams, while others praised Drake for his talent, but quietly questioned the authenticity of his recent numbers. The music world is ruthless, and in an environment where perception can make or break a career, these subtle digs carry a lot of weight. But let's step back for a second. Is it possible that this is all just a misunderstanding? Absolutely. Streaming algorithms are incredibly complex. Playlists, user behavior, and even geographical listening patterns can create anomalies that look suspicious, but are completely legitimate. Drake's releases have always been heavily promoted, strategically timed, and optimized for maximum reach. So, in many cases, it could just appear as though something shady is happening, even if everything is completely above board. Yet, despite this possibility, the damage to perception is already done. In the digital age, people don't just look at numbers. They analyze them, question them, and debate them endlessly online. And when allegations touch someone like Drake, a man whose empire was seemingly untouchable, even a hint of doubt can have serious consequences. Critics argue that if numbers are artificially inflated, it not only undermines Drake's credibility but also distorts the entire music ecosystem, giving an unfair advantage over other artists who rely solely on organic streams. The situation became even more intense when a leaked conversation between a music label executive and a streaming platform moderator surfaced online. In the messages, the moderator allegedly mentioned unusual activity on one of Drake's tracks, noting patterns that resembled automated plays. The executive's response? Shock, concern, and the ominous statement, "We need to make sure this doesn't blow up publicly." This leak sent shockwaves through the community. If even industry insiders were concerned, the stakes were clearly high. Fans and critics alike began debating the implications. Is Drake manipulating his streams intentionally, or is this a result of modern digital promotion gone rogue? Some argue that his team could be using sophisticated marketing tools that unintentionally mimic bot activity. Others claim it's a calculated effort to maintain dominance in a competitive streaming world. Either way, the conversation has now moved from speculation to potential accountability. And here's the kicker. Unlike scandals involving lyrics, behavior, or personal life, this controversy strikes at the core of Drake's professional success. Streams are not just numbers, they're currency. They translate into revenue, awards, collaborations, and marketability. If the authenticity of those streams is questioned, it doesn't just affect his reputation. It could impact his entire business empire, including endorsements, merch, and future deals. Suddenly, what seemed untouchable is now fragile, and the empire built over more than a decade faces a new kind of threat: digital doubt. By now, what started as whispers had grown into a full-blown storm. Allegations of bot activity surrounding Drake's streams weren't just chatter. They had caught the attention of the platforms themselves. Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, arguably the three most powerful gatekeepers of modern music, don't take artificial streams lightly. And when the king of streaming charts is under scrutiny, the consequences can ripple across the entire industry. Streaming platforms are in a difficult position. On one hand, they want to protect the integrity of their charts and algorithms. On the other hand, they rely on big-name artists like Drake to attract users and maintain dominance in a hyper-competitive market. It's a delicate balance, but when insiders noticed irregular streaming spikes, unusual geographic patterns, and repetitive plays from suspicious accounts, internal alarms went off. Investigations began quietly, behind closed doors, with platform engineers and algorithm specialists diving into the numbers to determine whether Drake's streams were truly organic or artificially amplified. Leaks from inside Spotify suggested that engineers were reviewing multiple Drake tracks across various playlists and time zones. Some streams showed improbable patterns, hundreds of thousands of plays from accounts with no other activity, simultaneous spikes across continents, and unusually high replay rates. These patterns are what experts refer to as bot-like behavior that's nearly impossible to achieve through normal human listening patterns. Meanwhile, social media went into overdrive. Fans were divided. Hardcore Drake supporters defended him fiercely, posting charts and screenshots showing normal engagement. Critics were relentless, highlighting what they claimed were proofs of manipulation. TikTok videos went viral dissecting the streams, while Twitter threads exploded with theories and accusations. The hashtag DrakeBotStorm began trending in certain corners, amplifying the public debate. Even YouTube commentators, known for dissecting every artist's numbers, began creating deep dive exposés that questioned the authenticity of his recent releases. But it wasn't just fans and platforms. The media itself started paying attention. Major entertainment outlets ran headlines questioning Drake's dominance, framing it as a possible case of modern streaming manipulation. Analysts began discussing the financial implications. If some streams were deemed inauthentic, what would that mean for chart placements, certifications, and most importantly, revenue? Millions of dollars could be at stake, and the potential reputational damage could be catastrophic for an artist whose empire is meticulously curated. Drake's team, of course, responded cautiously. Public statements were vague but firm, emphasizing that all streams were legitimate and that any irregularities were likely algorithmic anomalies or platform errors. But behind the scenes, sources claim that meetings with streaming platforms became tense and highly confidential. with lawyers, managers, and engineers working overtime to ensure that numbers were validated and no rules were technically breached. Every move was calculated because one misstep could turn a minor controversy into a full-blown industry scandal. Experts in digital marketing and streaming metrics chimed in, adding fuel to the debate. Some said that the anomalies could be completely unintentional, a byproduct of playlist placement strategies, viral algorithmic boosts, or even fan-led spam streaming. Others argued that the patterns were too precise to be coincidental, suggesting that manipulation, intentional or not, was highly plausible. These conflicting opinions created a fog of confusion, leaving fans, industry insiders, and casual listeners questioning what was real and what was artificially inflated. The stakes couldn't be higher. Drake's empire isn't just about music, it's about influence, marketability, and cultural dominance. If these allegations gain traction, it could affect brand partnerships, concert ticket sales, and future collaborations. Artists who once eagerly sought features may now hesitate, and record labels could scrutinize the promotional tactics of their top clients more closely. In other words, a bot scandal isn't just a numbers issue. It's a power issue, and it threatens to destabilize the empire Drake has built over the last decade. Even fans are feeling the pressure. Communities that once celebrated every Drake milestone now find themselves split and polarized. Some cling to loyalty, defending every track, every chart placement, insisting that the Sixth God is untouchable. Others feel betrayed, questioning the legitimacy of records that were once celebrated as historic. Social media commentary has shifted from pure admiration to skepticism and debate, and every new release now comes with caveats and scrutiny that Drake never had to face before. The backlash has even spread internationally. Streaming is global, and the anomalies aren't confined to North America. Reports indicate unusual activity across Europe, South America, and Asia, raising more questions about how these numbers were generated. Some experts speculate that coordinated campaigns, whether intentional or algorithmic, could amplify plays across multiple regions, making the perception of dominance even stronger. But perception isn't always reality, and the longer the debate continues, the more vulnerable Drake's carefully curated image becomes. At the heart of it all is a simple truth. Numbers are currency in today's music industry. Streams translate to money, influence, and prestige. When the integrity of those numbers is questioned, it doesn't just cast doubt on a single track, it casts doubt on an entire empire. And in Drake's case, where dominance has always been central to his brand, even a hint of manipulation could be devastating. As the industry watches, the public debates, and the platforms investigate, one thing is clear: Drake's empire, once thought untouchable, is now facing a crisis of authenticity. And the real question looming over everything isn't just whether bots were involved, it's whether the Sixth God can survive an era where digital perception is as powerful as talent. Itself, Drake's empire isn't just a collection of hits. It's a carefully constructed financial juggernaut. Between streaming revenue, album sales, merchandise, brand deals, and global tours, he's built a multi-million-dollar business that spans far beyond music. But now, with allegations of bot-driven streams swirling, the potential fallout threatens more than just his charts. It threatens the very foundation of his empire. Let's break it down. Each stream isn't just a number, it's cash. On platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, plays translate directly into revenue. Multiply that by hundreds of millions of streams, and you're looking at tens of millions of dollars per release. If investigations determine that some of these streams were artificially inflated, it could call into question past earnings, spark contractual renegotiations, or even trigger financial clawbacks. For an empire built meticulously over more than a decade, that's a staggering risk. But it's not just about money. Chart positions, Billboard records, and award recognitions are all tied to streaming performance. Drake's list of accolades is legendary, from Grammy wins to historic Billboard chart achievements, but if even one release is deemed influenced by bots, it could invalidate certifications and accolades, rewriting the history books for a man whose legacy has always been defined by breaking records. And here's where the ripple effect gets even bigger. Music labels, promoters, and collaborators closely monitor numbers when deciding deals and features. Imagine being an emerging artist deciding whether to feature Drake on a track. If there's a cloud of suspicion hanging over his streaming numbers, suddenly the risk factor increases. Brands may hesitate, tours could face ticketing scrutiny, and sponsors who once flocked to associate with the Sixth God might reconsider their partnerships. Every dollar, every opportunity, every collaboration now carries a new layer of uncertainty. The controversy has also reignited debates about authenticity in the streaming era. Fans aren't just questioning the numbers, they're questioning the legitimacy of dominance itself. In the age of TikTok, YouTube, and algorithm-driven playlists, perception can be manufactured. And for someone like Drake, who has historically relied on organic engagement, clever marketing, and global influence, the notion that bots could even be part of the equation is a direct hit to his credibility and reputation. Industry insiders warn that the longer these allegations linger, the more they erode trust. Even if it turns out that no rules were broken, the mere perception of manipulation can harm relationships with labels, collaborators, and the fan base. In a world where every play, every view, and every follow counts as a vote of confidence, trust is currency just as valuable, if not more valuable, than dollars. And the stakes aren't theoretical. The music industry has seen similar scandals before. When other artists faced scrutiny for artificially inflating numbers, it didn't just impact earnings, it reshaped their careers. Tours were canceled, awards stripped, and reputations tarnished. For Drake, whose brand is synonymous with dominance and influence, the potential for a similar blow is unprecedented. Suddenly, the Sixth God isn't just competing with rivals on the charts. He's competing with the court of public opinion, the scrutiny of platforms, and the unforgiving nature of digital accountability. Fans are already divided. Some argue that Drake's talent and consistency make allegations irrelevant. Even if some numbers are manipulated, does it matter? They ask. But critics counter that in today's music ecosystem, perception is everything. If fans, collaborators, and platforms start believing that an empire was artificially amplified, it could alter how every future release is received. The shadow of doubt, even if unfounded, has the power to change public perception permanently. The potential financial consequences are staggering. Contracts with streaming platforms often include performance-based clauses. If streams are proven inflated, or even suspected to be inflated, contractual disputes could arise, potentially costing Drake millions. Brand endorsements, which depend heavily on credibility, might be paused or renegotiated. Merchandising lines, partnerships, and even live events could face scrutiny from investors and sponsors wary of association with controversy. Perhaps the most insidious threat, however, is the long-term impact on his legacy. Drake's career has always been about breaking records and setting new benchmarks. But if bot allegations stick, if even a fraction of the public believes that some of his accomplishments were artificially driven, it could taint his historical narrative. A legacy once framed as unchallenged dominance could now be questioned, dissected, and debated endlessly. In the digital era, where every controversy is amplified, no one is immune, even the Sixth God, and the timing couldn't be worse. As Drake continues to release music, tour globally, and expand his empire into fashion and business ventures, the spotlight on authenticity is sharper than ever. One misstep, one leak, one misinterpreted data point could trigger a media frenzy, further intensifying public scrutiny. This isn't just a storm, it's a potential perfect hurricane, threatening revenue, credibility, and historical legacy all at once. By now, the controversy surrounding Drake and the alleged bot-driven streams has become impossible to ignore. What began as whispers and leaked data has exploded into a global conversation, putting pressure on Drake, his team, and the entire music industry. But in true superstar fashion, the Sixth God isn't letting the story play out without a response, subtle, calculated, and dramatic, just like his career. Drake's approach has been multi-layered. Publicly, he's remained calm, confident, and firm, emphasizing his dedication to authenticity and artistry. In interviews and on social media, he has stressed that every stream, every record, and every accomplishment is the result of hard work, creativity, and the undeniable support of fans worldwide. But behind the scenes, sources suggest that his team is working tirelessly to audit streams, communicate with platforms, and ensure that no numbers are ever misrepresented. Legal teams, data analysts, and managers have been engaged in high-stakes discussions, all aimed at protecting both reputation and revenue. Fans, as expected, are divided. On one side, loyal Drake supporters have launched a house Trust the Sixth God campaigns, flooding social media with clips, stats, and evidence to prove that the Sixth God's dominance is organic. They argue that Drake's work ethic, consistent releases, and massive fan base naturally generate astronomical streams. On the other side, skeptics continue to dissect charts and patterns, pointing to anomalies and coincidences that suggest a darker, more calculated form of influence. The debate has grown so intense that it's now a full-blown cultural discussion, extending beyond just music into the ethics of digital marketing, algorithm manipulation, and the very definition of success. Even other artists have weighed in. Some, cautiously, have expressed admiration for Drake's influence while hinting that transparency is more important than ever. Others, less subtle, have made cryptic remarks about inflated numbers and the pressures of chart domination. Every tweet, interview, and post is scrutinized. And in an era of viral social media, even the smallest statement can have enormous consequences. Meanwhile, the platforms themselves have continued their investigations quietly, reviewing user accounts, stream patterns, and algorithmic anomalies. Industry insiders indicate that Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube are examining the data meticulously, with engineers analyzing every spike, every playlist placement, and every engagement metric. These investigations aren't public yet, but the implications are clear. Even if nothing intentional occurred, the appearance of manipulation alone is enough to trigger scrutiny, affecting chart placements, awards, and public perception. This controversy has also sparked a broader discussion about the nature of music success in the digital age. Streams are the new currency, and algorithms determine visibility, reach, and ultimately financial gain. Artists like Drake are not just competing for talent recognition. They're navigating a complex ecosystem where perception can make or break an empire. And when the world begins to question the integrity of numbers, even the most untouchable artist must fight to maintain credibility. Drake's response strategy has been both subtle and effective. Rather than confront the accusations head-on, he's leaned into his artistry and fan loyalty. New music drops, cryptic posts, and high-profile collaborations keep the focus on his work, reminding fans and critics alike that his talent is undeniable. At the same time, legal and data teams are quietly validating streams, addressing anomalies, and preparing for any potential fallout. It's a balancing act between public perception and private assurance, an empire under pressure, but not yet broken. The tension has created a media frenzy, with analysts, vloggers, and journalists dissecting every move. Fans obsessively monitor charts, trying to determine whether spikes are real or artificial. Every release now carries extra scrutiny, and every collaboration is evaluated not just for quality, but for streaming legitimacy. The drama has transcended music, becoming a symbolic battle between authenticity and digital influence, with Drake at the center of the storm. Perhaps the most fascinating element of this saga is the human element, how Drake himself is handling the pressure. Insiders describe him as focused, resilient, and determined, treating the controversy not as a crisis, but as another challenge to overcome. For an artist who has built an empire through calculated moves, timing, and adaptability, this may be just another chapter in his story, a test of strategy, patience, and perception management. But make no mistake, the stakes are monumental. A single misstep, a poorly timed statement, or even a perceived misalignment in numbers could escalate the controversy into a full-blown industry scandal. For an artist whose identity is tied to dominance, influence, and record-breaking achievements, the threat isn't just external, it's personal. Reputation, credibility, and legacy all hang in the balance. As the saga unfolds, the world watches. Will Drake's empire withstand the scrutiny? Will the allegations be disproven, leaving the sixth god untouchable once again? Or will this controversy leave an indelible mark on his career, changing how fans, critics, and the industry perceive his dominance forever? The answers aren't simple, and the story is far from over. All right, fam, now it's your turn to weigh in. Drake's empire, built on chart dominance, streaming power, and global influence, is facing one of the most unexpected storms of his career. Bots, algorithms, leaks, and allegations are shaking the very foundation of what we thought was untouchable. But here's the thing. Perception is everything in today's music world. And your voice matters. Do you think Drake's streams are 100% authentic? Or is there something behind the numbers we're not seeing? Are these just rumors fueled by overanalysis? Or is the sixth god facing a real threat to his legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments because we want to hear every theory, every opinion, and every hot take. Be honest, be bold, and don't hold back. This is the debate the music world is watching. And if you're obsessed with the drama, the leaks, and the behind-the-scenes chaos of your favorite artists, make sure you hit that subscribe button, Smash the like and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next deep dive into the world of music controversies, industry secrets, and shocking stories that nobody else is talking about. So, tell us, is Drake's empire truly untouchable, or is the storm just getting started?